from Smoky, California. Thank you so much for joining today's session. If you don't deploy it, it doesn't help people or planet. And meet the 2020 Urban Water Challenge finalists. Before I begin, I really wanted to say a special thank you to our challenge founding partner, 11th Hour Racing. Without them, this would all not be possible. So thank you. I think everyone's on the line: Michelle, Todd, Ali, Megan, and Hillary. We really appreciate it at Imagine H2O. So for the agenda, today I'm going to give you a very brief overview of Imagine H2O, the challenge, and some of the results. I will then be joined by Neil Jeffrey of Water and Sanitation for the Urban Poor. Neil is not only an evaluation committee member, he is also a deployment partner. And then I will be introducing for the very first time the 2020 Urban Water Challenge finalists. So let's get started. Imagine H2O. For those of you who don't know who we are a 501c3 nonprofit with a mission to empower people to develop and deploy innovation to solve water challenges globally. We do this through three main programs. Most people usually know about our flagship Remote Accelerator, which helps entrepreneurs build their businesses and scale faster. A big shout out to Ellie and Tom on the line who run that program. Then Imagine H2O Asia, a Singapore-based water startup accelerator and customer validation program for Asia Pacific region. Nimesh, who is on the line, runs that program. And then the Urban Water Challenge, which we will be digging into in depth today. So what is the Urban Water Challenge? Well, we currently live in this innovation era, right? Where technology is revolutionizing the way we live in cities. Think commuting, there's Lime; paying, there's Stripe; using energy, we have Nest; and even working, we have Zoom. And I could go on and on with examples here. And these examples exist in water. And there are many brave entrepreneurs and water leaders trying to innovate around water, but the process is slower. As many people here on the line from Stockholm World Water Week know, there are a lot of barriers to adoption, and some like safety standards, others like misaligned incentives. But as the title of the session suggests, if we don't deploy it, it doesn't help people or the planet. So this is why we created the Urban Water Challenge. We wanted to advance the way we source, we clean, we distribute, use, treat, and reuse our water to build resilient cities. And we'll get into exactly how we go about that process. But first, I wanted to dig into kind of why did we do an urban focus? Well, cities use a large portion of our water, whether that be drinking, sanitation, or industrial use. And cities are only going to need more water. We expect demand to increase by 20 to 30% in 30 years. And cities right now are not meeting all of our demands. In fact, they're hurting people and our planet. And cities are being impacted by climate change, everything from flooding to what we're experiencing now in San Francisco on fire risk. Not to mention that most of our cities are on the coast, making them even more vulnerable. But with all that negative, the positive is we believe that cities really are the solution. They are the innovation and industry hubs, and ultimately they have the power to make the changes for a sustainable future. So we also get the question a lot of, what do you mean by water? And with the Urban Water Challenge, we're supporting solutions to the world's most pressing water problems. So that's everything from combating water contamination with monitoring technologies to reducing pollution through better wastewater treatment. The things that all of these have in common is that they are advancing the following UN Sustainable Development Goals. And the challenge. So the challenge provides pilot funding to jumpstart deployments and create proof points for end users with the goal of accelerating the adoption of these emerging solutions so that we can build these resilient cities. So this year we will be awarding over $275,000 USD in deployment funding. But at Imagine H2O, we think that in order to be truly catalytic, you must go beyond just the funding, which is why we connect these entrepreneurs with expert deployment partners in Imagine H2O's global network so that they have the human resources they need to flourish. We also work to amplify the success stories of these deployments through various storytelling efforts, such as this one. So we also know that the challenge works. This is our third year of running the challenge, and the results from past winners tell the story in and of itself. Take Amrit from Indra on the far left. Amrit received funding to equip academic institutions in India to treat and reuse their wastewater on site. After winning the challenge, Indra secured an additional funding to expand the initial project from 2 to 5 installations, and they now hope to reach 20 different academic institutions by the next year. Or we could take Daniel with Zilper Trenchless. He's in the right with the pink background. Last year, we funded Daniel to deploy his commercial trenchless technology in Cota, Colombia, and Daniel leveraged the results of this project to secure 2 major projects and an important partner in the region. If you want to learn more about these journeys, we only have 45 minutes today, so I can't get into all of them, but please follow them at Imagine H2O, as we will be releasing a series on where is the project now. So the 2020 challenge, the applications were, I guess the theme you would say is record in everything. We had record high numbers, record number of countries applying. The applicants had really strong number of patents filed, as well as they've raised a significant amount of funding. We also saw an all-time high in female participation, which I'm very excited to see this year. And applicants are looking to deploy their solutions all over the world. So as you can imagine, this year it was extremely difficult to select the finalist companies, which is why I'm very thankful to have people like Neil to help us make these decisions. As I mentioned at the beginning, Neil has been a believer of the challenge since the very beginning. He is on our evaluation committee, and he is now joined as a formal deployment partner. I will be now turning over the slides and just having a frank conversation with Neil about his role in the Urban Water Challenge and some reflections he has on it. So Neil, with that, I will turn things over to you.
Great, thank you, Kelly. It's a pleasure to be here. Hi, everybody. So my name is Neil Jeffrey. I'm the Chief Exec of Water and Sanitation for the Urban Poor, and I've been lucky enough to be a judge on the Urban Water Challenge for the last 3 years, and it's been an absolute pleasure. So I'm just going to talk for a few minutes about why we value so much the partnership with Imagine H2O and the Urban Water Challenge, the role that we play, and why we think it's so important to try and connect some of these business initiatives to the cities in Africa and Asia that we work in. So as Kelly mentioned, the reality of cities, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, is that they are experiencing significant rapid urbanization. So the reality of the decades to come will be many people arriving in those cities. That means, for example, the urban African population is expected to be 1 billion by 2050, which is approximately double the amount today. So the World Bank estimates that all of those cities by 2030 will occupy a space of about 1.2 million square kilometers. That's a big area. It's about the area of South Africa. And about half of that doesn't exist today. So one of the real issues of any of these business initiatives who want to work in Africa is to recognize they may be working in locations which are unplanned, they lack planning, and therefore the context in which they work will be challenging in that regard. Additionally, as Kelly mentioned, many of these cities will be dealing with increased water stress, issues of climate change, and changing water patterns. So water demand is expected to outstrip supply by 40% by 2030, and 50 cities are expected to reach day zero by 2030. So the stories that you might have read in the newspapers around Cape Town and Chennai will become commonplace. So any of you that are thinking of deploying in those areas will need to work with those issues. And for us, it's our bread and butter. It's what we do day to day. So we are excited to try and assist any of you to work in those locations. So just to try and then look on the positive, rather listing all of this doom and gloom, cities, as Kelly said, are enormous areas for economic growth. The World Bank estimates around 80% of global activity takes place in cities, and that's due to all of the connections that occur. And even in the changing world that we see from COVID, cities have an important role to play. And for us to be able to try and find the solutions to all of those issues for SDG 6, the estimated investment on an annual basis is somewhere between around 100 and 115 billion a year. Now, if you look at all overseas aid development, then the totality is only around 140 for all issues, so for all SDGs, and WASH attracts around 5% of that. So that means WASH is getting around 7 billion a year. So unless we understand how to engage effectively with the private sector and market-based solutions, and we look at alternative ways of investment, we're never ever going to reach those solutions. So that's why we think engaging with these business initiatives of many and varied types is absolutely essential. And that's why we're so excited to connect with the Urban Water Challenge. So what's up? We seek to transform cities. We work alongside agencies such as utilities, regulators, municipalities, existing private sector entities, and then also communities and customers to try and get that entire system to function better. And we see the role of the private sector and of market-based solutions as being absolutely essential in terms of solving challenges and then driving towards improvement in service provision. So we're a very practical, pragmatic institution. We try to help our business partners, the utilities and the municipalities, to deal with their business challenges. And when I sit as a judge for the Urban Water Challenge, I'm not only excited about the proposals that I see, and there's many that are excellent, we're going to hear from them in a second, but I also think, how could these be deployed to assist our partners, the institutions that I know are really dealing with major challenges? So if you think about, these are examples that we've heard last year and this year, but if you think about examples from the business initiatives, so whether it's helping utilities map more effectively so that they can understand and then deal with water loss, so using robots to map their entire system, or looking at satellite data, which can then track and predict flooding, or if you're thinking about propositions that help end user water quality to be improved, or if you're looking for waste to resource initiatives that mean that you can provide affordable energy from human waste, all of those are ideas and proposals that assist the institutions that we work with to deliver services more effectively, and not only do that in a more profitable way, but ensure that all customer segments in the cities where they operate receive services at a price point that are suitable and sensible for them. So to wrap up, I would just say I continue to be an enormous fan of the Urban Water Challenge and Imagine H2O. It's a delight working with Kelly and all of her colleagues. But we do this because it assists us to deliver our work, and it assists us to change the lives of millions of people. So it's not only about how we can deliver more services of better quality in cities, how we can enhance water service coverage for millions of underserved and unserved people, but it's also how we can create a better ecosystem where investment in the future is more possible, more profitable, and more impactful. So I hope you enjoy listening to the examples as much as I have done over the last few weeks, and I hope you find them as inspiring as I have done. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Neil. We really appreciate your partnership and all that you do in water and the Urban Water Challenge. Neil and I will be digging into this a little bit more at our Water Innovation Week, October 12th through the 16th. So if you would like to follow along, please do. Since we only have 45 minutes, not a lot of time here, I do want to go straight into announcing the 2020 Urban Water Challenge finalists. I know that none of you can do a drum roll, but virtual drum roll, please. First up, zooming in from The Hague, we have Karina Peña from Field Factors.
Hi, everyone. I am Karina Peña from Field Factors. Thanks for the introduction, Kelly. We are a Dutch startup, and what we do, we turn rainwater into a reliable source for freshwater supply. And why do we do this? Well, as we just heard, all of us by now have been confronted with the extremes of the climate change, right? Too much water flooding our streets, but also long-lasting periods of drought, causing heat stress, but also putting the availability of fresh water in risk. So we thought, with a great team of designers and engineers, we thought, why don't we actually see our cities as the solution? Not only in terms of course, as we just heard, hubs of creativity, of people, everyone living together, but actually also physically, right? I mean, as a big catchment, we have been disrupting, I think, the water cycle, limiting water to naturally flow into the soil. So we thought, why don't we use the built environment as a big catchment area to collect rainwater, keep it there where it falls, and reuse rainwater. when we need it the most, so in times of drought. In this way, so we could solve two problems, flooding, but also having fresh water available when we need it. So we have developed a circular system called Blue Blocks. It is a circular nature-based solution that we implement in just built in the city, in urban areas. With our system, we collect rainwater where it falls. We treat it locally with a natural treatment. So what we see is this green. And this water, we bring it in the underground and where it can be recovered when it is needed. So where are we now? From an idea on a rainy day in Amsterdam a few years ago, we implemented our solution, our first system in 2018 in the city of Rotterdam at the Sparta Stadium, where with the implementation of our solution, we have prevented flooding in the neighborhood, but with that water, we supply for the irrigation of the football pitches in the Sparta. In this way, at TikTok, per year, we are supplying 15,000 liters of water per year instead of drinking water, which was being used for the irrigation of the sporting pitches. We are at this moment, after this first solution, this first system, we are now implementing the second system in the city of The Hague, where we will be using also surface water surplus aside rainwater. We'll store it and make it available when it is in the summer, especially, or in the times of drought, for the irrigation of an urban park, which is under development now, or renovation now, but also to provide drinking water for animals in a zoo around. So we are very excited to be part of the Urban Challenge finalists. With this award, what we want to do is how we want to unlock deployment is actually by developing a monitoring and operating system to support our customers with actual performance of the solution. If we are successful, by 2025, we want to have 20 systems in operation, providing 300 million waters per year. That's our mission, or the challenge we have taken. Please join us if you see. We are actively now looking for pilot projects where we can implement a solution, especially or all kind of urban development projects. It can be renovation of urban parks or new residential areas, but especially where there is a big built surface, but also a local water demand, is where our solution is suitable. So get in touch if you know about new development projects where we can turn rainwater into a reliable source for supply. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karina. That's a beautiful background you have going on.
Oh, thank you.
Joining us from Austin, Texas, we have Shay Fabode with Varuna.
Thanks so much. Thanks for including us in the Urban Water Challenge. My name is Shay Fabode, CEO at Varuna. And at Varuna, we provide visibility, awareness, and insights to small and medium-sized water utilities so they can deliver clean water consistently. And what is the problem we're solving here? So small and medium-sized water systems tend to lack real-time visibility into the state of water quality beyond the treatment plant. They know what's going on in the plant, but once it's pumped into the distribution network, they lose sight of the quality of the water. And they currently gain visibility by sending a guy in a truck to go take a sample, which decays before he brings it back to the treatment plant. So what we do to take out this inefficient and frankly dangerous approach to water quality monitoring is we deploy nodes in the distribution system, specifically in parts of the system where there's no power or comms to connect back to the treatment plant. We provide them a simple intuitive dashboard that takes this data and allows them to develop remediation workflows if there are any issues that arise from water quality contaminants that they find through our dashboard. And we also predict possible shocks to the system because now we get the data and can trend that and add a bit more data from all the other systems within the utility. It's particularly for us as a team, we care a lot about doing this in areas with underrepresented minorities, where the overlap between water quality issues and those communities are almost one-to-one, and this needs to end. We're a year and a half old. We've deployed with 7 utilities across the US, and we, during COVID, signed a memorandum of understanding with the largest water system operator in Mexico, and we have a robust pipeline of water systems that we are bringing on board over the next few months. We're super excited to be part of the Urban Water Challenge, and it helps us to further implement our mission and underline this. We believe that when people know better, they do better. Our systems will let them know better, and when we're successful here, there will be no more Flint, Michigans. There will be millions of people who can safely drink water from their taps and consistently expect it to be clean, regardless of their status in cities or their economic conditions in those cities. What do we hope the crew here can help us with? Introductions to small and medium-sized cities. They need help. We're ready to deploy cost-effective technology to help ensure they deliver clean water consistently. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Shay. We are now headed to Pune, India, with Asim Bolero of Fluid Robotics.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Asim. I'm one of the founders of Fluid Robotics, and we help make water bodies pollution-free and keep cities safe. So cities in developing countries have minimal information about the health of wastewater infrastructure, which means a majority of the wastewater pipeline networks are unmapped and deteriorating. This results in about 80–85% of raw sewage directly entering rivers, lakes, and coastlines, all untreated. What we've built are AI-based wastewater surveillance robots for monitoring the health of this wastewater infrastructure that helps cities intercept, divert, and treat raw sewage, significantly reducing urban water pollution. So our solution helps cities to basically rewire existing wastewater networks. This helps divert raw sewage to treatment facilities and increases reuse. So far in the last 3 years, we've deployed our solution in over 10 cities across India, and we've helped cities treat more than 700 million liters a day of raw sewage just by optimizing the use of existing infrastructures, enabling a significant amount of cost savings as well. Through the UWC program, through the grant, we hope to deploy our solutions in Pune city for Mura-Mutha River. There's a 22-kilometer stretch that runs through Pune city, where we, through our interventions, there's a potential to divert more than 200 million liters a day of raw sewage to treatment works. And the great thing is this will open up or unlock even more projects because the river continues to run downstream after Pune. So there's another 100 MLD of raw sewage that could potentially be diverted and treated through our activities. So through this program, we really hope to connect with partners, advisors, because we know there isn't a single solution to solve this problem of urban water pollution. And through partnerships and collaboration, we see there being even bigger impact to water pollution in developing countries. So we're super excited to be part of the Urban Water Challenge, and thanks so much, Kelly and the team for having us.
Wonderful. Thank you for staying up so late to be with us right now. We are coming back to the fiery state of California, and we have Aaron Tartakovsky with Epic Cleantech.
First of all, well done on my last name because it's a tricky one.
Thank you.
Well, this is incredibly exciting, and it's inspiring to be with all these companies doing amazing things. And I think, to echo a scene, I don't think there's one single silver bullet, but instead here we have an entire armory of silver bullets to spread out all over the earth. And I'm glad to be one of those. So at Epic Cleantech, we are decentralizing wastewater treatment and reuse into individual buildings or groups of buildings. So what makes us a little bit different, and we've talked about some of the issues with cities, with rapid urbanization, putting strain on water supplies, with more people moving into cities, putting strain on already strained wastewater treatment facilities, sometimes designed anywhere from 30 to 100 years ago. And actually, to bring the example local, my own family here in San Francisco, where I'm born and raised, they had a pipe on their street put in 100 years ago, which in my mind was put in by sort of, prospectors who came looking for gold 120 years ago with long beards, and that pipe cracked. And that's the state of our infrastructure in cities here, in cities all around the world. And so what we're doing is fundamentally rethinking how our cities are designed when it comes to water supply, when it comes to wastewater treatment. So what makes us different than other technologies currently working in cities and in buildings, we were actually born out of a building engineering firm, which means we've designed a system that is specifically for buildings, for lower flows, for smaller spaces where you're operating in 9-foot basements. And we've employed a technology that actually uses about 40% less energy than our competitors, with plans to layer on energy recovery and nutrient recapture. So what we do, we go into buildings, we collect the black water, we pull the solids out using a piece of technology we've designed. Those solids that we can then convert into high quality soil products. This is a process we developed with the Gates Foundation. The water can then be treated and reused on site, starting now with non-potable applications. So we can actually reduce the building's water use by about 90%, which per building translates into usually about a few million gallons of water demand offset every single year. So we started here in San Francisco. One of the other sort of differentiating factors is we know politics. So my background is in federal politics, so we actually helped pass legislation to require these types of systems in San Francisco and also in California. And I think that fusion of technology with regulation, with working with the private sector, is going to be a model that we start here in San Francisco and can replicate in other cities. So we are in our first building in downtown San Francisco. It's a 754 unit, 35-story building. We are currently being designed into 6 other high-rise developments and campuses throughout California. And we look forward to working with you all and with these partners to take this funding and help put it into even more buildings, and to basically help a lot of these folks get over that initial hurdle of doing on-site reuse, because developers and architects and engineers, they love what we're doing, but there's a yuck factor. But once we think that we crack those first projects and get these deployments up, this is going to be how cities are designed for the future of decentralized and centralized, working in tandem to create overall more resilient cities. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Aaron. I have to admit, I did practice your name ahead of time. The team at Imagine H2 will tell you it's not my strong suit, so I'm glad I got it right.
That means a lot to me. Thank you.
I'm going to try another one. I'm going to head over to Kate Bonner in Kenya with Sanovation.
Great. Thank you, guys. Hi, my name is Kate Bonner, and I'm the Business Development Manager at Sanovation, which is based in Kenya. Secondary cities here in Kenya lack the technical capacity and resources to effectively provide wastewater treatment and scale their services to be inclusive of non-sewerage sanitation. As a result, water stress continues to be a growing challenge and concern. To address this, we partner with local governments to develop and operate non-sewerage sanitation solutions through a waste-to-energy model that's more cost-effective and environmentally friendly than sewerage. Specifically, we design, build, and operate circular economy treatment plants that receive sludge from pit latrines and septic tanks. We then treat that sludge, mix it with other waste products like sawdust to create a solid fuel that we then sell to industries to replace firewood in their boilers. Since 2015, we've deployed 3 small plants and served over 25,000 people with safely managed sanitation. The Urban Water Challenge funds will be catalytic for project development and to allow us to de-risk our model for rapid replication throughout Kenya. We would use this feasibility work to leverage an additional $4 million in contracts from local governments and DFIs to design and build a citywide treatment plant that could serve 100,000 people directly. If we're successful, then we'll remove more than 35,000 tons of untreated waste from the environment each year, thus protecting fresh water sources and the coastal region from environmental degradation. And as a reminder of why this issue is important to tackle now and here, Kenya loses over $320 million per year due to poor sanitation. The sector needs to develop more innovative financing mechanisms for specifically non-sewerage sanitation to be able to achieve the ambitious sustainable development goals. So we're happy to be a part of this urban water challenge for this reason, and we look forward to the opportunities and partnerships that this challenge facilitates. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Kate. Now we are going from Kenya to Atlanta. Up next is Emily Morris with Emergy.
Hi, good day, everyone. My name is Emily Morris, and I'm the founder and CEO of Emergy. I'm so happy to be here with you today, and I'm honored to be included in this group of entrepreneurs solving some of the world's most important challenges. My team and I are here to address the heart of the energy-water nexus in cities. With urbanization, the cost of pumping, treating, and moving water continues to rise, in no small part due to increased electricity consumption. Emergy Solution transforms our infrastructure into sources of clean energy, using modular hydropower turbines that harness and deliver power where and when it's needed most. Best of all, our technology can be installed directly into water infrastructure without any construction, making it an extremely cost-effective and rapidly deployable solution. We believe that generating clean energy through water can be just as modular and scalable as generating energy from the sun or the wind, with the promise of greater reliability based on the continuity of water flow around the clock in cities. We've been fortunate to refine and demonstrate our technological potential through pilots in cities like Atlanta and Denver here in the US, but commercialization and market adoption requires more than just high quality technology performance. With award funding through Urban Water Challenge, our team will roll out a new deployment model that allows cities of all sizes to be able to utilize Emergy solutions, not just ones that have the ability to make capital purchases. We'll partner with an urban water infrastructure owner to deploy an Emergy hydropower array and develop an energy as a service payment model that allows them to realize the benefits of the system without an upfront equipment investment. We believe that capital requirements should never be a barrier to making the right decision for future water uses or energy sources of a city. And the Urban Water Challenge provides us the opportunity to prove that this model is not just the right thing to do, but it's something that we can scale. If we're successful, cities will be able to operate more cost effectively by generating clean electricity without the upfront investment into equipment. This enables rapid, sustainable scalability and frees up capital for cities to invest in other public services. I hope you'll follow along with our deployment with the Urban Water Challenge, and I hope you'll consider partnering with us to turn urban water infrastructure into sources of clean power. If you work with cities that may be able to benefit from something like this, please don't hesitate to reach out to us directly. I appreciate your time today, and I'm excited to work with all of you to bring our solutions to more and more cities around the globe. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Emily. We are now going to head north to the Prince Edward Island in Canada. Pat Keeley with Sentry.
Thanks, Kelly. This is super cool. My name is Dr. Pat Kiley, CEO of Sentry. So what is Sentry? So we looked at the wastewater treatment space 7 years ago, and it's kind of like the dirty secret, if you will. Data in the wastewater space just isn't good enough. Sensors that are placed into wastewater environments are typically really complicated or delicate pieces of equipment, and signal drift, and just the ability to generate long-term data sets just isn't possible. So we wanted to flip the whole sensor concept on its head, and we developed a bioelectrode sensor platform. So this is where we actually grow active microbial biofilm and conductive surfaces, and we have that biofilm respire to those surfaces and then provide us that key information as to how the wastewater treatment plant is performing. So we've developed a whole new sensor platform for water environments. But then the next question is, okay, well, that's super cool, but well, what value are you going to provide, the industry? And over the last 2.5 years, actually, our first deployments came from working with Imagine H2O back in March of 2018. And in the last 2.5 years, we've worked primarily with wastewater treatment clients in North America and Europe to validate 7 different stages of the wastewater treatment process. So whether it's understanding toxicity in wastewater, whether it's saving energy on aeration, whether it's helping operators remove nutrients from their wastewater streams, or whether it's helping operators understand actually what's leaving their wastewater treatment plant, we provide this in a really simple online dashboard where operators can just see their process in real time. So that's where what we've done. We're now at a position where we've done projects in North America, we've done projects in Europe, and we're looking to go further. and we're really, really excited to be part of the Urban Water Challenge. We have an agreement with the Sao Paulo, the Bowery sewage treatment station. So this is actually the largest wastewater treatment plant of its kind in Latin America. It serves 1.2 million people. And we're going to help this facility basically characterize the wastewater coming into their plant, help them understand and identify which industrial clients in particular are contributing to potential toxicity events in their wastewater, help them optimize their aeration, save money, and help them understand what's leaving the wastewater quality that's leaving their treatment facilities as well. So in terms of what we're looking for from this, or if anyone else is listening, if you have any wastewater or water treatment clients and they would like to have a remote monitoring platform for their facilities, where perhaps they can work from home and they just get notified when something strange is happening to their biology, then we're the company to work with. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Pat. It's been fun to watch the journey from 2018 till today. Last but not least, another Imagination alum, Bessie Schwartz with Cloud Street in New York. I almost got through all the names.
No worries. And thanks so much, Kelly, and to everybody else who's here. It is such a pleasure, like everyone said, to be amongst this cohort of amazing companies. I'm Bessie, as Kelly said, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cloud Street. We're a new kind of online flood mapping and risk monitoring platform that does not require experts or equipment on the ground. We are founded with seed funding from Google, and to date, our platform has been used by 20 countries around the world for search and rescue or community relocation and more disaster risk reduction. Now, we have a global partnership with Willis Towers Watson, the third largest insurance broker in the world, to take our proven technology to create the first scalable flood parametric insurance. But before I was a scientist, I was actually a community organizer. And I've worked with communities of young people in coastal cities around the US who are looking seriously at leaving where their families had been for generations because of poor development and rising sea levels and increased flooding. I've also worked with communities in the Congo and some of the most vulnerable places around the world who have literally had to wait weeks because relief workers literally did not know they were flooded. Today, most communities around the world do not have sufficient information to prepare and respond for today's flooding, let alone that of an increasingly changed climate and urbanization. And 70% of losses from disasters are uninsured. That number is over 90% in Africa. And this is because the status quo of the whole system just does not work, certainly to the scale of the problem, all using manual and slow methods on the ground. Take traditional flood risk mapping requires a lot of ground equipment and maintenance that's very expensive. And then insurance requires some person to go check out whether your asset or your community has been affected. Our remote satellite technology verifies if a community has been damaged, an asset has been damaged, and analyzes risk all from the sky and essentially instantaneously. And we're doing this now to enable insurers and governments around the world to do more transparent and faster work. Essentially what we're doing is leveraging dozens of public and private satellites that are circling the Earth every day. We have proprietary AI algorithms that then use this data to predict where floods are going to go in the future, long-term and immediately. And then our system uses the community intelligence to verify what our system is seeing. And all of this enables us to create the first consistently reliable flood detection tool that enables insurers to know right away and reliably enough who's been impacted, and then puts that information at their fingertips. So with the Urban Water Challenge, we're going to pilot the first flood parametric tool with cities in the US and South Africa. If we're successful, this pilot will scale to 3 cities, enabling them through our insurance partner to get the capital that they desperately need after a disaster. And then long-term, this will be the proof of concept that our insurance partners are looking for in order to scale globally and create a new type of financial safety net. Our goal is to reach 10 million within the next 5 years. So we'd love your support in hitting this mission and this goal. If you know of governments or companies in the US or Africa primarily, who are affected by floods and need better solutions, we would love to talk to them. So thank you so much. And again, it's wonderful to be here with everybody.
Thank you, Bessie, for closing it out. That is our 2020 Urban Water Challenge cohort. Please make sure to follow along their journeys with Imagine H2O. There'll be more information about the technology, their contacts, their deployments, all online starting on Wednesday. We will also be announcing the winner and the award amounts at the Imagine H2O Water Innovation Week, which is October 12th through the 16th. So please register today. And we are also hosting a session tomorrow as part of Stockholm World Water Week called the Swedish Fish Tank, a Shark Tank inspired startup pitch session on coastal resilience. So tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. and we'll be diving deeper into that issue and the technology. And remember, if you don't deploy it, it doesn't help people or the planet. So please follow along with the Urban Water Challenge. And thanks so much for joining today.